We're joined now by our guest, Juwan Johnson, who I think I'm not supposed to say stuff like this, but I think he's probably one of the most fascinating guys that I've covered in the NFL, on the field, off the field. Just extremely interesting, the journey to the league, and then just who he is as a person. Juwan, appreciate you joining us.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you having us. Yeah, thank you.
And it's your birthday, so first of all, happy birthday! Sorry to take up time on your
Hey,
special day.
man.
So
No,
we really
Fellow
man,
appreciate
Virgo
that.
right
you're
here.
all good. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so let's start out with some of the non-football stuff. Now, we know about the juggling, we know about the service you do in the locker room after games. The one thing I've never asked you about, that I've always wanted to ask you about, why do you walk the field barefoot before every single game? What's
Ooh.
what's uh what's that in your routine?
Okay. Initially, if it's a home game, walk around and talk to people in the staff. So the ushers who are say hi to him, hi to all of them, just to make sure that they're appreciated. That we don't know. They cover obviously football, basketball, the Falcons game. So they're covering basketball. They covered, I'm sure, the which was hectic. So they aren't just working on Sundays. They're doing they're just making sure that they're acknowledged and they're seen as something that I wanted to do. When it's an away game, necessarily how they'll take me, but if I lock eyes with them, honestly, an away game is just me walking around, seeing a different stadium, taking it in, grateful of what's in front of me.
So why is it so important to you to kind of connect with just everybody, like whether it's the
Yeah,
crew in the locker room, the ushers, all that? Like, a lot of people would probably overlook those people, or just kind of, not
right,
recognize what they're doing to put on the production every week.
right. Uh, well, they're people too. Like, I feel like even athletes, I feel like they lose sight of what we are. We want to be treated differently, as if we have a bad game and people will say, "Oh, well, we're human." Treat other people as if they're people as well, because we sort of put ourselves on a pedestal to be treated a certain way when we aren't treating others a certain way. And just as a believer, um, that's just how we should be. I don't think of myself any higher than anybody else. Letting somebody know that they're thought of or even appreciated. Some people don't think that they're worth it or appreciate it. So, at least one person in the status and place that I'm at in my life, rather, letting them know that they're an athlete, a believer, a brother, a friend, is something that I always want to let somebody know.
Oh, that's what's up, man. It sounds like we might have been raised by the same people. um, um, yeah. So I'm interested in the juggling, man. I got to know, like, how did that start? How did you get into it?
Yeah.
And like, how does it translate into football? I've tried it, and you make it look way easier than what it is. So yeah,
Right.
just give me a little insight in that, because that's like a fun little thing that I've seen you do.
Absolutely. So I picked juggling up. I always wanted to juggle in college, but I picked it up in 2020 when we were in COVID. So my wife were staying with her parents while we were first newly married in their house, and we're just like, man, like I'm so bored. Like, I need something to do, and I always want to pick up juggling, and and it took me. I mean, I had the whole day to really figure it out because I had
Yeah.
nothing else. We couldn't do anything. We were quarantining, so yeah, I picked it up, and it took me a couple days to really perfect it. And so I was like, man, like this really helps. Really, just focusing and locking in, and just be like, all right, like I'm present. And so it more as like hand eye, like my hand placement on where the ball is at, and me locking in and me being focused, like locking in on a ball and just being like, if I'm just doing it just to be impressive, then I'm not really locking in. So, but
Yeah.
routine here and there, And so I'll grab different balls to try to focus my eyes on the object.
All right. So this game, it looked like your blocking got a lot better. Is that a fair assessment? One, and two, obviously it's a fair assessment. What was the process behind your, I don't know, rapid improvement in that? It just seems like something you really locked in on.
Yeah.
I mean, man, it's been a long time coming. I'll tell you, last year was definitely to block because I felt like I didn't invest a lot of time in like blocking. Isn't that half of blocking is knowing what you're doing, and so I went in and felt confident in what I was doing. The blocking felt. I mean, obviously, it is hard to block someone who is 290 pounds on the edge, and guys, when you know where you're going, where your leverage can be at, how strong you can be on, differ from where his body's at. It's totally different, and I'm there just kind of like doing my thing, and just trying to, and hopefully I'm in the right spot. And so and I really just locked in on just every week, like every week I picked a day run scheme I was working on, and I just locked in on it. And then I just really took heart to what Dan Rochard was saying, and was like, man, I really need. And so I just locked in on it, worked on the fundamentals, and yeah, honestly, like it's not a lot that I did besides knowing the run scheme and felt confident.
And how did that second effort block on Taysom's 57-yarder field? You got down there, and I mean, you definitely took the dude out, but it looked like you took a little damage on that one.
Yeah.
No lie. Oh man. Honestly, like it was so much running through my mind. I mean, to be honest with you, we called the play, and obviously we got okay. I had no idea until the fans start going crazy. So now I look back and then man, I kept thinking of like Bobby Boucher, like this is my true thought, and I was like, man, I always wanted to like dive and hit some feet, and he did the exact same thing to me, and I was like, man, this looks real bad, and so I'm like on the ground like, dang, I got hit hard, and not only I get hard, dang, so it was yeah. It was
No, man, look at you got down the field, you were leading the way. I mean, that's a huge effort play. Like a lot of dudes aren't going to make that same effort. So that was
I mean,
got him a few more yards.
I just love winning, and so I'm just glad I could do this. I took everybody was laughing at me for that one.
Yeah. From my perspective, man, you slipped as you was trying to block them, so it kind of
Right.
made you fall a little bit, right?
Right.
That's how we go. That's how we go.
Right, definitely. I appreciate that. I appreciate.
Yeah. So you were talking about your blocking, and just a couple of things there, like with Rochard being like him coaching the O-line before. Does it help you, like him being a tight ends coach now and kind of transitioning those skills as a tight end from an offensive lineman? And also, like, were you able to keep your like speed and athleticism by maybe like gaining some weight to be more proficient as a blocker? Was that something that you kind of had to do?
Yeah. I first like to say that, and this is not even me being biased, because I look at film at the teams, and he is the best tight ends coach in the league, and it's no question about how mentally sound he is. How prepared I am going into the game is like I've never been before. Like happens, I know exactly what they're going to do. I know exactly what's coming. Like everything, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like we're like the last ones out of meetings to go to practice, or just because of how prepared like he wants us. And I mean, it can be annoying at times. Like go to enjoy the rest of my day, the rest of my life. But the thing is, out in my life, because this coach right here, one, he cares and he's so genuine, but he really wants us to do well. And so that's something that I can see that in us just because I see like from even Mason to Kroll to JP to Nick to me, you can see how we are in the league just because of how fundamentally sound we are. And so just putting on weight, and I feel like that's even better than me putting on weight. But in terms of me, I said this in Green Bay in an interview. I have no idea like what it was, and then the speed just stayed. Like I tried to keep on running to like I feel great. Like the way I feel when I'm running, I do feel strong. Do I feel faster? I'm not sure. I do feel fast, but I don't when I'm watching film compared to last year to this year. I don't feel like I missed a beat. I feel more fluid and more elusive and quicker than I did last year. So, yeah, I'm really excited about in terms of just running and keeping this weight on and running routes.
What do you think is like so special about your guys' hurry up offense? Every time it seems like you guys go to it, like people are running free, and like does it feel like more open and fluid and like crazily in rhythm and everything when you guys are running it?
The thing is, like we practice this a lot. We go over this a lot, and I think Drew just kind of setting the blueprint. And so when he countless years of him, when he goes to 2 minute, like it is automatic. Like you see Drew just like,
yeah.
And I feel like us watching that film and us putting that into practice into the game. I didn't even know we were going to 2 minute. Like it was that one drive after I caught like a corner out into 2 minutes. And I was like, look, I didn't know we were going no huddle. And then we just started moving and we have those signals and we keep going and we're going. Like this is stuff that we've already times in the off season, but also during training camp.
Yeah. And just on just to stay on that, like as a player, like when you're, the defense probably didn't play up to the standard that they've played the last, couple of years. Cause, it's definitely one of the top units in the league.
Right.
And, you guys have a lot of weapons offensively. You got a good O-line, weapons, tight ends, quarterback, everything. So like, what is it like when you are not performing like you plan to, but you still got to play the game, right? And then you guys were obviously able to come back, take the lead and eventually win the game. So like, what's that process of things not working out and then you guys eventually just kind of circling around and figuring it out later in the game and maybe walk away with a win?
Yeah, I mean, the defense, I'm sure they wanted to play better, but they did when it all mattered, and that's kind of the biggest thing. So, the defense knows we have to work on. But we came out in the second half, we did our thing. I think the one thing that even I realized, going on later in my career is that, the offense, they kind of work hand in hand. So if we're behind, the offense has to play a little bit more aggressive. And so if the defense isn't, if the defense is playing as well, more points, we have to play more aggressive. If it's the other way around, and vice versa. And so they really have to step up and make those plays because the offense isn't playing well. So the offense and defense, a lot of our play calls and a lot of defensive play calls are going to go off of what and so really I'm glad that we did our thing and the defense had to, and they played outstanding the second half, and they were doing well in the first half, outstanding in the second half, and that's what we had to do in the fourth quarter. And so if we had to like that the first three quarters, the defense wouldn't have to do something because their corresponding offense would probably have play aggressive, and we could have did our thing. So yeah.
All right, last one for me. DA said it was going to be thick skin Monday. I'm just curious, what do you guys feel like you learned from this game, and how can you grow from it?
Yeah, I mean, in this business, you're going to have thick skin, especially after a game like that, where there were so many mistakes. At some plays where there was 10 guys on the field, I was one of them on field goal, so I shoot out for that one. But just having that's part of being a great team. Where are we going to be honest? And if they aren't coaching you, then they're going to find somebody else to coach. I feel like that's just the biggest thing, just us being in there, having tough skin each other, and also players coaching other players. I feel like that's probably one of the best attributes is coaching other players, and the coaches not having to coach as much as they need to because we have guys who are experienced who can coach each other up. So it wasn't just his coaching; it was the players too because they cared just as much.
Okay, yeah, and last one for me here. Who ran a tougher training camp? DA with this one, or Sean in his last one or two training camps?
I'm not gonna lie, DA has a hard training. I'm not gonna lie. My first year in 2020, Sean had a hard one. We were outside a lot, but this past one was tough. We were there's not. I can count on my fingers how many on my one hand how many times we were for camp, and we were outside a lot with DA. We got after it, holding back, but that's something that he wanted to drill in us, that he wanted a team that never quit, and it showed, and like stuff like that shows up on. So you want to complain about being outside in the heat, or even just go. I mean, to me, honestly, I felt like we were already in game before this first game happened. I remember our special teams coordinator, Darren Rizzi, was like, "You guys had a great training camp. Can't wait for you guys to play." I'm like, I thought we were in like game 3 already. Game yet, and so just having a camp like that, knowing that you guys who are the best in the league, like playing guys against Cam, Mark feels so prepared, and so going into a game, you're just like, all right, like you had a hard training camp, and we're just like, all right, we good. Like we never waver. Like me, I never wavered like I could have had, but never wavered. In the fourth quarter, it showed up on the hard work we put in to just keep on going, and have this win streak keep expanding.
You love that lightning siren, though, huh? That's my favorite sound during training camp. That lightning siren goes off. I'm moving a little quicker, get a little bounce in my step.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that is probably one of my favorite sounds because that means good. It is very tough. Camp with DA is tough.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Great start to the season, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Much.